Hello and welcome to today's episode of this podcast series where I share a favorite poem every day. The poem I'm going to read today is by Jack Gilbert, the famous American poet. Before I read his poem, I want to mention that my friend and partner in crime who runs Bengaluru Review with me, Tuhin Bhowal, he lives in Bengaluru here, and he's a brilliant poet and a poetry lover just as I am. He's an avid fan of Jack Gilbert, and he recommended me his poetry around the time this lockdown started, and I started reading his poem around the same time. He shared all his books PDFs with me, and he has been sending me screenshots. So this is one poem by Jack, although there are many other poems by Jack Gilbert which need to be discussed in great detail, but this is one poem I thought I should share with you, and this will make Tuhin very happy, I'm sure. So yeah, this poem is by Jack Gilbert. The poem is called Alone. Alone. I never thought Michiko would come back after she died. But if she did, I knew it would be as a lady in a long white dress. It is strange that she has returned as somebody's Dalmatian. I meet the man walking her on a leash almost every week. He says good morning, and I stoop down to calm her. He said once that she was never like that with other people. Sometimes she's tethered on their lawn when I go by. If nobody is around, I sit on the grass. When she finally quiets, she puts her head in my lap, and we watch each other's eyes as I whisper in her soft ears. She cares nothing about the mystery. She likes it best when I touch her head and tell her small things about my days and our friends. That makes her happy the way it always did. In the theory of poetics, in Alankar Shastra, it is believed, it is said that when you use Upama Alankar, when you are using a simile, if A is being compared to B, B should always be at a higher pedestal than A. So if a girl's face is being compared with moon, it is assumed that moon is certainly the more beautiful thing. So that is the rationale when you create a Alankar, when you create a comparison. By that logic, so Upman should always be better than Upme. By that logic, here what Jack Gilbert actually achieves is the opposite. He is comparing his lover with a dog, with a no offense to dog, but this is something that is very, very rare. It is unthinkable that you would compare your dead lover with a dog, who a neighbor's dog whom you have met recently. But in doing so, what Jack Gilbert brilliantly achieves is he raises the neighbor's dog to a much higher pedestal in doing so. To his solitude, his melancholy, his sorrow, his mourning of Michiko's death is all the more powerful in bringing it out in that way. It's almost delusional by the time we reach the 5th, 6th line of the poem. The way he just talks to the neighbor's dog, and he when she's alone, he just goes and sits beside her and spends so much time with her. It's almost as if the poet is being delusional, and that brings out the poet's character in such a stronger way. In one of the older podcast episodes, I had mentioned that a poet should always be vulnerable in his poetry, and that is what comes out in this poem so much brilliantly. And the layers to it get created. The relationship between him and his wife, and him and the dog, are in a short piece. So much is established. That is what makes this poem so powerful. There are many other poems by Jack Gilbert where he has discussed his relationship with his lovers, his wives. and they are actually very powerful and must be read, and maybe I'll read a couple more in a later discussion and discuss them. Since we are discussing man's relationship with his canine friend, I thought I should share a couple of more poems which are on the similar concept. There's this poem by Miller Williams called Listen. Just listen to this poem. Miller Williams poem, Listen. I threw a snowball across the backyard. My dog ran after it to bring it back. It broke as it fell, scattering snow over snow. She stood confused, seeing and smelling nothing. She searched in widening circles until I called her. She looked at me and said as clearly in silence as if she had spoken, I know it's there, I'll find it. Went back to the center and started the circles again. I called her 2 more times before she came, slowly, stopping once to look back. That was this morning. I'm sure that she has forgotten. I have had some trouble putting it out of my mind. The relationship between the dog and the man, it is so beautifully brought out in this poem. The way silence and nothingness is described. She stood confused, seeing and smelling nothing. Snow disappearing over snow. She looked at me and said as clearly in silence as if she had spoken. So that idea of nothingness, is brought out again and again in this poem. There is a poem by K. Sachidanandan, How to Go to Tao's Temple, where this idea of nothingness, is again described. There are so many images of nothingness in that poem, and here in this small poem, we already find like several images of nothingness present, especially the end. Which is like a callback, which is like a torch that beams back into the poem and lightening it up all the more. I have had some trouble putting it out of my mind. It is very similar to to the snow that fell and disappeared into snow. It is very similar to that image that although the dog herself has forgotten this incident, but the poet has had difficulty putting it out of his mind. Very similar to what the dog went through as she ran again and again to fetch that snowball which has disappeared. So, such a powerful poem, and titled Listen. Again, the softness of it, beautiful poem. There's one third poem I want to read today, and I want to give this disclaimer before. If you have weak nerves, I'd suggest you leave this podcast right away and not listen to this poem. This poem is called Dog's Death. It's a very sad poem, and this poem has cracked me up several times when I've read it. This poem is by John Updike, Dog's Death. I'll read this poem and I'll end the podcast episode. I'll not discuss this poem or the discussion any further. Just that among the 3 poems, I like Jack Gilbert's poem the most, simply because of the complexity in the poem, the layers of relationships that are there in this poem. But all these 3 poems I believe are really good and need to be discussed in detail. So I'll read Dog's Death by John Updike and I'll end this episode. I'll end the podcast for today. John Updike's Dog's Death. She must have been kicked unseen or brushed by a car. Too young to know much, she was beginning to learn to use the newspapers spread on the kitchen floor and to win, wetting there, the words, "Good dog, good dog." We thought her shy malaise was a short reaction. The autopsy disclosed a rupture in her liver. As we teased her with play, blood was filling her skin, and her heart was learning to lie down forever. Monday morning, as the children were noisily fed and sent to school, she crawled beneath the youngest's bed. We found her twisted limp, but still alive. In the car to the vet's on my lap, she tried to bite my hand and died. I stroked her warm fur, and my wife called in a voice imperious with tears, though surrounded by love that would have upheld her. Nevertheless, she sank and stiffening disappeared. Back home, we found that in the night her frame, drawing near to dissolution, had endured the shame of diarrhea and had dragged across the floor to a newspaper carelessly left there. Good dog.